Hello everyone, my name is Alifia Alvarez from Environmental Engineering President University, and today I'd like to talk about a serious issue in urban environmental management, household hazardous waste, or what we call with B3 waste. So as you can see on my screen, here is our topic for discussion today is planning of household hazardous and toxic waste B3 management system in Pontianak Kota District, Pontianak City. So let's move on into the background. So best that I already learned about this study, in Pontianak Kota District, the rapid population growth and ongoing urban development have led to more intense community activities and a rise in socioeconomic levels. Naturally, this also means that the amount of waste generated by household is increasing over time. The waste produced is not just organic or non-organic. It also includes hazardous materials like used batteries, neon light, detergent and cosmetic packaging, used diapers, and sanitary pads. This type of waste, although commonly found in household, fall under the category of B3 waste, which is harmful to both human health and the environment if not managed properly. But unfortunately, the current condition in Pontianak Kota shows that most people still dispose of B3 waste together with regular waste without any form of separation or proper handling. Even though there is already a government regulation, as we know that Governor Regulation of West Kalimantan number 45 of 2090 that provides guidelines on waste management. Yeah, but the fact is specific rules and implementation for household B3 waste are still lacking in Pontianak Kota. Okay, so we already understand the background, so let's move on into the core of the problem. So in this district, there is currently no established system for managing household hazardous waste that fully complies with the existing regulations. People are still disposing of B3 waste together with regular household waste without any proper segregation. This not only violates good waste management practice, but it also poses serious risks to public health and the environment. The longer this issue is left unaddressed, the greater the potential for pollution, toxic exposure, and long-term harm to our ecosystem. That's why it's so important to develop a specific and systematic household B3 waste management plan. This must begin with a clear understanding of how much B3 waste is being produced and what types of waste are most commonly generated in households across the district. Only by analyzing this aspect can we create a waste management system that is both effective and aligned with government regulation. So, to support the planning of household B3 waste management, let's take a look at some key points from the literature review. First, what is household hazardous and toxic waste or B3? It refers to harmful material produced from everyday household activities. This type waste is dangerous to both human health and the environment, as it can cause skin irritation, respiratory problems, and even headaches. According to Government Regulation number 22 of 2021, B3 waste is classified by certain characteristics, such as being explosive, flammable, reactive, infectious, corrosive, and toxic. When it comes to managing this type of waste, SNI 90 13964 9095 suggests several steps. First, an 8-day sampling period. Second, sorting the waste based on its characteristic. And the last is measuring its weight and volume. So for collecting and transportation, the process must follow safety protocol outlined in the Director General of Land Transportation, which focus on transporting hazardous materials. There are also several supporting regulations, including the Government Regulation of West Kalimantan number 45 of 2090 and the Ministry of Environment and Forestry Regulation number 6 of 2021. And lastly, the literature point out that Incineration is one effective method for treating B3 waste as it helps reduce both weight and volume. There are also creative reuse efforts such as transforming plastic packaging into eco bricks and support recycling initiative. All of these references help from a strong foundation for creating a safe and effective household B3 waste management system. So this is our several applied regulation. We have 5 that we use for this study. There are Government Regulation number 22 of 2021, Governor Regulation of West Kalimantan number 45 of 2019, Ministry of Environment and Forestry Regulation number 6 of 2021, Directorate General of Land Transportation Decree 2004, and the last is SNI 903964 1995. Okay, so for our location of study case in Kecamatan Pontianak Kota, Pontianak City, West Kalimantan, Indonesia, and time for observation is around 8 consecutive days, like around late 2022 and early 2023. And the data collection method primary data I already divided into 3 points. The first is measurement of household B3, hazardous and toxic waste. Second, collected by direct sampling at selected household in Pontianak Kota District. And the last is sampling waste conducted for 8 consecutive days using the SNI standard method. And then in the last step, they gonna weighting and sorting the waste, and then measuring the volume of each waste type and recording the weight and volume data daily. For the secondary data, which is the observation, already break down into 3 points. There are understand the current waste disposal behavior, household hazardous and toxic waste B3 was still being mixed with non-B3 waste, and reviewing existing local policies and regulation related to waste management. So here is the result and discussion. Waste identification, type and quantity. Here we have waste sources, characteristic and quantity in kilogram over year. So for the source, we got from the same source, aka household activities. And for the waste, we have used batteries. The characteristic is toxic with the quantity 1.533. And use fluorescent lamp. The characteristic is flammable and toxic with the quantity 0.548. And third, detergent packaging. The characteristic is corrosive with quantity 0.281. And use diapers and sanitary pads also from household activities. The characteristic is infectious with the quantity 0.8040. And the last is aerosol cans like insect spray. Source is from the household activities with the characteristic explosive and flammable. The quantity is 0.285. Also, we already made the table for the gap analysis between applied waste management versus regulation. Okay, so the item is waste segregation. In regulation, household B3 waste must be separated from non-B3 waste at the source. But the fake finding is household B3 waste is still disposed of mixed with non-B3 waste. Second, temporary storage. In regulations said that B3 waste must be stored temporarily in special containers according to its characteristic. But in the fake is no proper temporary storage system yet. B3 waste stored with general waste. Third, waste collection. Regulations said that collection should use the dedicated vehicles that guarantee safety. But the fact finding, no specific collection system for household B3 waste. And the last is waste treatment. B3 waste must be treated through appropriate method like incineration or authorized facilities. But the fact finding is no special B3 waste treatment yet, only general waste management is implemented. Okay, now solid waste management study when waste collected. The method is waste is collected every 8 days from household. Individual containers are used, 20 liters container at each house. The location is collected from each household in Pontianak Kota District. For the facilities, collection vehicles, 3-wheeled motorbox vehicles modified with a tube capacity of 4.8 meter cubic. Number of vehicles 9 units, distributed based on the number of household per sub-district. And the last is temporary storage site, special containers 8 meter cubic for flammable, explosive, toxic waste, and 200 liter plastic drums for infectious waste. And then for waste segregation, the method is source segregation at each household. Residents are required to separate B3 waste from non-B3 waste at the point of generation. For the location is in its individual household in Pontianak Kota District. And facilities, the individual containers plan to be 200 liter plastic bins with a cover, and then containers are labeled according to B3 waste characteristic. Okay, here we have the packaging for household use. Here is the design. As you can see, they plan gonna make a 20 liter plastic container with a cover with the size 20 centimeter times with 20 centimeter times 50 centimeter, used individually by each household to collect segregated B3 waste. Also, we have the vehicle design. A box motor that has been modified in the body section with dimension of 2 meters time with 1.5 meters time 1.6 meters. The time required to load waste per trip is 345 minutes or 5 hours 45 minutes per vehicles. And the total number of trips per day is 90 trips, so that the waste collection schedule is obtained every 7 days at 6 until 2 Western Indonesian time. And then we have the packaging for temporary storage at TPS. As you can see, we have the container and the plastic drum. For the container, we have 80 meter cubic container for flammable, explosive, and also toxic waste. And for the plastic drum, here is 200 liter plastic drum for infectious waste. This is for the planned area of household hazardous waste. They plan that temporary disposal site in Pontianak Kota District is 22 meters times 20 meters. For the section, we have 5. First is storage area for household B3 waste with flammable and explosive characteristic covering 8 meters times 4 meters. Storage area for household B3 waste with corrosive characteristic covering 8 meters times 4 meters. Storage area for household B3 waste with toxic characteristic covering 8 meters times 4 meters. Storage area for household B3 waste with infectious characteristic covering 4 meters times with 6 meters. And the last is warehouse area covering 4 meters times with 4 meters. And for the storage area, we have washing area with 3 meters times 5 meters, office covering 2 meters times 4 meters, and the motorbike parking area covering 6 meters times with 5 meters, employee parking area covering 3 meters times 2 meters, and the toilet with the dimension of 2 times with 2 meters. And here is the site plan TPS. Not clear enough, but I think we can see the section for each section. Since they said they gonna use incinerator for B3 waste processing planning, but they don't mention the design for the incinerator, so I got this design from Google, but I already mentioned the reference in the PPT. So yeah, like this. And then for the conclusion that I got from this study, first, the generation rate of household hazardous waste in Pontianak Kota District is 0.009 kilo per person per day, or 0.101 liters per person per day. The most dominant waste characteristic found are toxic 45%, followed by infectious 25%, flammable 30%, explosive 9%, and corrosive 8%. The plant management system includes 3. There are household level storage using 20-liter closed plastic containers. Second, collection using 9 modified motor box units conducted once every 7 days. And the last is temporary storage at a waste transfer station or TPS using 8 meter cubic containers for certain characteristic and 200-liter plastic drum for infectious waste. And it is necessary to plan a specific management system for household B3 waste, and waste utilization is recommended using the 3R principles, or reduce, reuse, and recycle. And of course, I have the recommendation for this plan or this study. First, I think they need to develop a comprehensive management system that covers a institutional aspect, legal and regulatory framework, technical operation, budgeting and financing, and the last is community participation. Also, they need to conduct further assessment of extended hazardous waste processing at the transfer station and prepare a budget plan, or what we call with RAB, and actively raise community awareness about the types and characteristics of hazardous waste, the risk and handling procedures, and the last is the importance of separating waste at the source. And this is our reference, aka our journal for this study. You can search it in Google Scholar, or just simply scan the barcode that I already mentioned. And thank you so much for the time. Thank you so much, Ma'am Temmy and friends, and see you next video.